Joe Ward. I've been flying in paragliders for too many years. Spent a couple of years flying sailplanes as well. Got a skydiving. Probably 27 years doing all those things. Still don't know a lot about the weather, but I'm learning. RASP online, I had a look at quite a few tutorials about it, and I found a lot of them really confusing and hard to grasp. So I'm going to try and make this simple, hopefully not make it confusing the way I present it, and hopefully it'll kickstart you to looking at RASP each day. And I think a lot of us start off with a little bit of knowledge. We think we know some stuff, we think we know some stuff, and there's other stuff we don't know. And it's just a matter of continuing to look at it, continuing to learn. So, who looks at RASP before they go flying? A lot of people. How long do you spend each day looking at it? Sorry?
Just to get an overview.
Yeah, how many minutes would you spend?
If it's a good flying day, I'll probably spend 5 minutes or so through.
Yep. Yeah. How about someone else? How long? How long would you spend looking at it? Yeah.
It's been about a minute. It's green, it's unripe, it's nice and ripe. Orange a little bit.
Yeah.
About 30 seconds.
Yeah, so I spend about 3 or 4 minutes looking at it as well. I think once you know what you're looking at, it doesn't take long. So I'm going to go through quite a few things on the RASP, but at the end of the day, there's just a few concepts that you really need to know. But it's good to know the background as well. So we're going to just have a real quick explanation of what RASP is. Just a recap of some basic terminology that you would have learnt at school, paragliding school or hang gliding school. Then we'll have a look at the Skew-T diagram and explain all of the parts of it and how it works. And then we'll look at the other RASP pages, the block maps. And we'll look at overdevelopment and thunderstorm potential, and Skew-T examples of good day and a bad day, and then we'll go and look at the RASP website itself, have a quick look, and then we'll interpret a forecast maybe tomorrow's, so you can get an idea of what I do when I look at it, and questions or a discussion at the end. So atmospheric forecast data interpreted into diagrams, intended for us. And it gives us, among other things, info about wind speed, direction, thermal strength, quality, height, cloud base, clouds, convergence, overdevelopment, thunderstorm potential. But just remember, it is just a forecast, and you need to get a picture of all the different pages and other weather forecasts as well to get a complete picture. I probably look at about 4 or 5 pages on the RASP usually, unless it's really crap. I only need to look at one. Yep. Okay, so boundary layer. That's pretty much the air that we fly in, and I'll put a big description there. But usually it's the top of the inversion layer. Just think of it as the thermal gear that we fly. I'll mark it on the next diagram so you can see. Adiabatic, with our lapse rates, adiabatic is just the changing of temperature without energy entering or leaving the system. So as our bubble of air rises, it's not really mixing with the air around it, it's staying buoyant and it's going up. Just a reminder about lapse rates. Environmental lapse rate is the actual rate at which the temperature changes with height, and that's the weather balloon they send up to measure it. Diagram which we'll see in a minute. Dry adiabatic lapse rate, it's our parcel of air, think thermal, pops off the ground and rises. It's cooling at 3 degrees per 1,000 feet until maybe it turns into cloud, and then it continues cooling at 1.5 degrees per 1,000 feet. So it's pretty important to remember that when we look at the rising air on the Skew-T. Dew point, temperature at which a sample of air reaches 100% humidity and clouds form. And inversion, layer of warmer air lots of lines and lots of numbers. The most important things for me on this graph, the red line, blue line, and this little dotted black line. So the red line is our environmental temperature that's been measured by the balloon they send up. I think they might be doing it by satellites as well these days. The blue line is our dew point temperature, and that's calculated on the same balloon temperature and humidity over there. And the dotted line is our rising air parcel. Sometimes that's called parcel lapse rate, sometimes it's called an instability line. But this is our bubble of air that's warmed up on the ground and it's rising. So those three things, if you take those away, all of the other lines on here are just reference lines. They'll always be there, they'll always be the same. And so you use those to measure things. And there's 5 sets of them, and we'll have a quick look at each one and explain what they are. But basically, this graph, this diagram here is the atmosphere. So on the right hand side, we've got our height in thousands of feet. So we have ground level on this line, surface level. Height in thousands of feet. We've got pressure, air pressure on the other side, which I won't use. And we've got temperature on the bottom. So from 40 degrees down to minus 30. So as I show you each part, I'll show you how to get the temperature from these two lines. And this is our inversion. As the air goes up this graph, it cools. When it gets to this point, if it flips back this way, the air's getting warmer. And inversions can be a best friend or a worst enemy. Sometimes if they're really low, they'll stop thermals going too high. And if we don't have one, we're probably going to get thunderstorms. And I'll show you that as well when we get to the development page. This is our boundary layer. So this is the part of the diagram that we're most interested in, up to the inversion. But there is a few things up here that we're going to look at later too. Yep. Okay, so let's have a quick look at the header. And Erin nicely explained this on the AHGPC group today. But on this side we've got the location, the name, the lat long, and the date and time the forecast is valid for. So it's 1 o'clock Saturday, Hill. And when the forecast was generated. So this was generated at 16:29 GMT time, so I don't know how I can do that, but I'm sure about it. And this forecast is 12 hours after they sent the balloon up. Yep. So let's go through the lines, those 5 different sets of lines on the graph. So the horizontal ones are actually air pressure or height. To get height, we just go across the graph if we want to measure anything. But they're known as, I suppose, lines with air pressure on the diagram. Next slide. So isotherms are these diagonal lines going from left up to right, and they are just lines of constant temperature. So we know that this is a temperature line, and this is a dew point temperature. So to get a temperature from anywhere on those lines, we want the temperature where the inversion starts. We can just run down parallel to the black lines. It's about 5 degrees. If we want to know freezing level, we can get 0 degrees on the bottom of the graph. Run up the line until we hit the actual temperature forecast. Run across. We can say that freezing level is going to be just under 12,000 feet.
Sorry, Jeff, just...
Yep. Oh, sorry. Okay. So you'll just once again to measure the temperature, you take any point on the red line, top of the inversion. If you want to measure that, you just run a line parallel to these black lines, down to the bottom, and you're between 0 and 10, so it's 5 degrees at the bottom of the inversion layer. And if you want freezing level, find 0 degrees down the bottom, run up the black line till you get to the red temperature line, come across, and its freezing point is just under 12,000 feet. So any point you want to find the temperature on this red line, if you want to find it here, 24,000 feet, just run down parallel to the black lines and you get minus 28 degrees. So those are the isotherms. We'll flip to the next line. Okay, dry adiabat. So this is our dry adiabatic lapse rate. So that's how our bubble of air, when it pops off the surface as a thermal, it's how it's going to cool as it rises. So these lines here, they're showing our 3 degrees per 1,000 feet as it goes up. So you'll find that the actual temperature is usually parallel to them, and our bubble of thermal air, the black dotted line, is parallel to them as well. It's cooling at the same rate. So that's what these dry adiabats are. Flip to the next page. So these are our saturated adiabats. So this is the path our dotted line will follow if there's saturation at cloud base. So it doesn't show it on this diagram, but this one does. And so again, this dotted line is our parcel of air, our thermal rising. It's following the dry adiabatic lapse rate, these lines here that we just saw on the last slide. Once it gets to cloud base, the lines then follow the saturated adiabatic lapse rate. So they've changed direction. So whenever you see this line going up and changing direction, you know that cloud base is at that point. So that's when the air has gone from dry to saturated. Cool, just flip to the next one. Saturation mixing ratio. This is grams of water vapour per 1 kg of air on these dotted lines. And we'll use that soon to, it's another way of finding out where cloud base is or where condensation level is. So flip to the next slide. Right hand side of the graph we have wind. Should be pretty easy for everybody to read that. We have examples over here. So we've got these arrows with little barbs on the end. The little one there is 5 knots, longer one's 10 knots, triangle's 50 knots. So on this line here, all the way up, you can see which way the wind is going. On the ground here, we've got northwesterly. You can't see the barbs very well when they overlap, but you can see the wind speed here as well. This line is wind speed going all the way up. And you have the P down the bottom, 0, 20, 40, 60 knots. So it looks like about 5 knots of wind on the ground, going most of the way up, increasing to about 10 at cloud base, where our line ends. And the wind direction, northwest on the ground, and you can see it flick southwest the higher we go. Next slide, please. On this side, we've got cloud. The left-hand side is 0% cloud coverage. Where I've drawn this dotted line is 100% cloud coverage, and we've got a P down the bottom as well. It's 0.0, 0.5, and 1.0 for 100% cloud cover. So you can see on this graph, we've got some high cloud up here, 24,000 feet all the way up, a big layer of high cloud. And down here we've got a smaller layer of low cloud. So you can see the bottom of that layer should be cloud base, and the top of it should be cloud tops. And that's the same with this dotted line when it reaches cloud base. The top of that dotted line is cloud top. When we fit the inversion, it can't go any higher. So that is cloud. This is, if it says there's going to be cloud there, I'm pretty confident that there is, but quite often it doesn't show cloud, and there is. So yeah, just need to remember that. Next slide.
I'll just say one thing I'd add to that is if you get the black line popping out, that's like overdevelopment cloud. So you're going to get rainbow. You can still have cumulus popping off all over the place, and you're not going to get that black line there.
Which black line?
The cloud top, cloud base.
This one?
No, the left hand side. That one.
Yeah.
Yeah. you'll still, you can not have that line, but still have cumulus popping up through the sky. Having that means you've got the much higher chance of actually flying a rain.
I was just thinking when the blue and the red line touch for any distance, you get how it develops.
That's what ends up giving that black line on the side.
But when we have a look at the overdevelopment diagram, you'll see that there's no cloud showing here. But there's probably going to be huge thunderstorm clouds. Sometimes it just doesn't show. Okay, so this is, we've seen two ways to look at cloud base. So one was that where that line changes direction, right there. The other one was over here. And this is the third way to look at cloud base. We'll work out convective condensation level. So there's two steps up here. Basically, you draw a line up from the bottom of the dew point line, and you follow these dotted, saturated adiabat lines that we looked at before. So you can see I've drawn a black line here. You take it up to the temperature line, you bring it across, and cloud base is saying it's about 5,000 feet. 5,000 feet with the kink in that black line as well. Seems a little bit high, so I don't know why. And there's also, so that's convective condensation level. There's also another one called lifting condensation level, which is when air is lifted by mountains or cold fronts or mechanically lifted. And you work it out a little bit differently than this, but you can Google it if you're interested. So if we flip to the next page, we've just got a few examples of where cloud base is. So this is one we just looked at, but it's probably going to be raining because those are close together. This one, so if the blue line and the blue line touch at the inversion level there, we can pretty much say we're going to have cumulus. But even if they don't touch, if there's a less than 3 degree difference between the dew point line and the actual temperature line, we're probably going to get cloud. So you could measure these temperatures here by coming down, following these isothermal lines. You'll see that they're only about 1 degree difference in the temperature between the two lines.
The red line's from the sounding. What is the blue line?
It's the dew point line. So so this one is temperature, and this one is temperature and humidity. It's calculated. I'm not sure how. But yeah, the blue line's the dew point line. So if they're touching like that, you're probably going to get rain. If they're just touching, you'll probably get cumulus. If there's a little gap like that, you'll probably get cumulus. Even the gap's a little bit bigger on this one, but the temperature difference is still less than 3 degrees, so you could still get cumulus. This one up here, there's quite a gap between them, so this would be a blue day, and you can work that out just like we did on the last page with that convective condensation level by taking the line from the dew point on the surface, following those saturated adiabat lines. If you take that line up, you can see it'll go way up here, so our air is never going to get close to it, so it's going to be a blue day. There'll be no condensation. Whereas these ones, if you follow the saturated adiabat from here, it sort of meets our temperature line there. So that's where cloud base is going to be. So that technique of following the saturated adiabats up, sometimes it finds cloud base, sometimes it doesn't. Cloud base is going to be at the inversion layer. Even though it's blue, it's still full of cloud base. Next slide, please. Next slide. Okay. The blip map pages. As Leighton does, I look at the Skew-T and I look at this one mostly. And this shows two things on it. It shows us the thermal updraft velocity, or how strong the thermals are going to be. And it does that with the colours on the graph down here. So yeah, yellow and orange is really good. And, I probably wouldn't go if it was blue or anything. And so as it says here, you have to subtract your glider descent rate. If it's cloud, if it's blue, it's cloudless thermals. And if there are cumulus, then it's probably going to be a bit stronger than what it shows here. But if I see orange or yellow, I'm going to go. If everything else looks good. And it also shows the buoyancy share ratio, which are these dots, or stipple, as they call it. So dense stipple, so it tells you up here. Dense stipple, 0 to 4, is when we've got these black dots really close together. And it says that if this ratio is 5 or less, the thermals may be unworkable. But that's for sailplane pilots, and we can sort of turn tighter circles in them. So my general rule is, if there's dense stipple everywhere, I'm probably not going to go. If there's sparse stipple, which is the dots are a little bit further apart, if everything else looks good, I'll go. And if we have no stipple, that's really what we want to see. The thermals are going to be easy to work. So yeah. Next page, please. Convergence. Leighton's already had a look at this. I just want to say, I think someone asked a question about wind direction here. If you look at another page, the boundary layer wind direction, it will quite often show wind coming from each side of the convergence, whichever way it's going to come. And you can actually see the line up that boundary layer wind page, marking the convergence as well. So we'll have a look at that when we look at a forecast. Hopefully it's going to be convergence tomorrow. One thing to note too about convergence, we're going to have a look at the Cape soon, which is thunderstorm potential. And if you've got convergence and you've got a large Cape reading, you can get really big thunderstorms. And we get that sometimes when there's convergence behind dills. Sometimes it just explodes and it develops really fast. So if you are flying convergence, definitely look at the Cape as well, which we'll have a look at in a second. Okay, so that's wind on the boundary layer. And this, I think, is the same day with the convergence. So this shows wind as colours in knots. So you can read the wind speed, and the direction is just these lines with arrows. So our convergence is running up here, and I think you can see wind coming this way, and wind coming this way. And you should be able to see, you can sort of see a line up there as well. So that'll give you the wind direction around the convergence, or along the convergence line. This wind reading can be not so accurate if we've got different directions up through the layers of air, and it's good. That's why it's good to have a look at the wind direction on the Skew-T, because you can see those barbs changing as you go up, whereas this may give you a misleading reading. So the next page, please. So this is wind surface, 10 metres above the ground. You read it the same way, colours for wind strength, and arrows and lines to show you which way the wind is going.
That actually shows the convergence better, doesn't it? Convergence of the wind going into
It does, yes. You can see that line going up there. Yep. Okay, next slide. Okay, Cape. Convective available potential energy. So this is thunderstorm potential pretty much. It's the same diagram, uses colours again, just to give you a reading of energy in the atmosphere. And the higher this is, the more potential there is for thunderstorms. I'll show you a few Skew-T diagrams with potential thunderstorms on them so we can see. But I definitely check this. If the readings are anywhere from here up, I'm very wary of what's going to happen. So if we flip to the next slide, this is lifted index. I'm not going to go through this, but this is thunderstorm potential as well. And if you're a geek, you can work it out and it'll give you a rating for thunderstorm potential. It sort of works alongside the Cape. So if we flip to the next slide, please, later. Okay, so this is a cape with a few different colours on it, and you can see it's way up here. So if I see that, I'm probably not going to go flying. So, probably not. And probably not. This relates to the Skew-T as well, and you can see our parcel of lifting air starts on the surface, changes direction at 2,000 feet. So that's our cloud base, and it shows it over there. But then we've got a very small inversion, and it's not stopping our saturated air. With nothing to stop it, it's just going to keep rising, keep rising, keep rising, until it gets up to that temperature where it's the same. So if you see this dotted line going way up there, it's the same alarm bells as this. You probably don't want to go.
Interesting that only shows such a thin layer of cloud though, no?
That's right. As I said, sometimes I don't know why they don't show like a storm cloud. Yeah. But if I saw that cape and that line, I'm thinking thunderstorms on. I'm not going to go. And cape is actually calculated from the area in between this dotted line and the temperature. So the bigger the area in here, the higher the cape. And you actually get a little cape value up here. I think this one's 852 or something, which is up here, which correlates to this one as well.
The wind there will be another warning sign as well, wouldn't it, with the barbs on the right hand side.
Windy?
Sorry?
Sorry, what was that?
I was saying the wind would be another warning sign with the barbs on the right hand side of the diagram there.
Oh yeah, you can see it's going to be too windy anyway. But I mean, if it's not too windy and you have these, no, don't go. Next slide. So this looks like a pretty shit day anyway, with the dew point line and the temperature line touching each other in the low cloud base. And this is another example, but it looks like a really good day down here. You've got thermals going up to 10,000 feet. Looks really good, but there is actually no inversion layer at all. So there's nothing to stop this air from condensing and climbing up again. And this cape here, I believe, is 1192, so that's right at the top of that cape diagram. This is actually in Manila. I've flown there quite a bit, and yeah, that really scares me. First time you fly in clouds that you can't get down from, you learn. Okay, good day. So this is Alex Ramont's day in flight, where he flew from Moyes, 78k out and return. So if we have a quick look at that day, we can see that our air parcel is rising up to the inversion layer. Cloud base is there. It's about 4,000 odd feet, maybe just over. We've got southwest wind, which is good for Moyes, and it's about 5 knots. 5 knots all the way up by the looks of it. So that the wind direction and strength is good. Thermals is good. We've got a bit of high cloud up here, so I'd be thinking about that, but it may be alright. Then I would look again at the thermal updraft velocity, and you can see it's good colour, 500 to 600 feet per minute. It's going to be nice strong thermals for us. And there's no stipple at all on the diagram, which is really, really good. That's what you want to see. That's exactly what you want to see. So the thermals are going to be workable, they're going to be reasonably strong, looking good. Actually, that's Alex's comment from the day too. He said mostly blue, convergence, had light winds, and just enough cloud to mark it. So we've got light winds. If we do our trick with the convective condensation level, so following up these dotted saturated adiabat lines from the bottom of the dew point, you can see it misses the our air, goes straight past, so it's going to be blue. And you can tell anyway that if there's a big gap between here, it's going to be blue. Next slide. So this was convergence for the day. There's Moyes Hill, and you can see again it goes straight over Moyes, up to about Dome Valley, Dome Forest, and then straight up the island. And this is Alex's track log for the day. So from Moyes, he's gone straight to Donomilli, straight up the island, exactly like the convergence shows. Then he's come all the way back. And
Do you know if he planned that to come back, or was it just a spur of the moment?
I think it was a spur of the moment. Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
Cool.
And you can see his height on the graph here. He got to about 1,300 metres, so just over 4,000 feet, which is what we saw on the previous diagram as cloud base being. So that was a pretty accurate RASP forecast, and a really good flight.
The interesting thing about this data is, I don't know how you went. Did you cross the Donomilli?
I didn't fly that day,
Where did you fly the day?
stupidly.
He crossed at Manakana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the interesting thing about me is I was following Jet, right? So
That's stupid.
that's stupid. But I think and what happened was this way, so I'm saying that we encountered headwind when we reached past, Tamarana.
Oh yeah.
But my senses was saying I was encountering the sea breeze from up Mount Pai. But I was just following and not having, because when you look, we only used to go to Mount Pai, right?
Yeah.
Then Alex is there, the top is flying up there. So Alex is coming. He has no hang-ups about going anywhere. He goes and says, well, the wind's turned direction, I can head back.
He did. Yeah, I think he did say that he got onto a headwind.
Yeah. So when we got into headwind, Jeff kept pushing. I don't know what he was doing. And I kept pushing. I kept pushing and pushing and pushing. And then one by, and there's nothing, why don't you turn around? Because if you turn around, we're getting more ground speed. But that's a classic way of, how your thinking goes. You kept just going and going into the headwind without thinking, then we could do an outer direction. Just as an opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a smart move. Next slide. I shouldn't have to show a bad day really, but obviously a bad day is when it's windy. About 20 knots for paragliders anyway. High cloud. High cloud. 2,000 foot cloud base. Temperature line and the dew point line touching for a long way. Probably going to rain. A lot of moisture in here. So yeah, we'll go fine. Next slide. Do you want to go to the RASP website? Actually, I might go to